You have heard the word hadith many, many times. And people have the impression that hadith did not exist until these collections were made. But if you remember, I had mentioned to you that the law that started about 150 years earlier, those legal experts knew hadith. So hadith actually existed while the Prophet was still alive. People used to listen to him and they would report stuff. It was not encouraged to have formal collections out of the fear that people may mix it with the Quran. But individuals used to make notes, so there were lots of individual collections, and they were in different forms. And some of that stuff will be in this verbiage that is in front of you. But the point I might want to make before we start is hadith existed way, way before these formal collections were made. But keep in mind that when the Prophet is alive and you want to ask a question, you go to the Prophet and ask him a question, and he would give you an answer. Maybe, unless he decided that answer is not good for you, don't ask the question. Or you ask those who you knew were close to him and knew his thinking, or spent a lot of time with him, and ask them. And they may have an answer, or they may tell you, well, I think that's what he would say. But after the Prophet dies, now you cannot go directly to ask him. So what do? You ask those who spend time with him. Well, let's say that you are in the first step and there are two people who heard him about an issue. At the next phase, if let's say each of those two people talk to three people, now how many possibilities do you have now? Huh? You have heard of a thing called, well, people say, logarithmic, but it's not really logarithmic. What is it called? Factorial, right? So 3 times 2, 6. Now let's say that each of those 3 knew 3 people and they talked to 3 people. Now how many do you have? 24. Okay? So this thing gets a larger and larger of people. Okay? So if you were compiling this stuff later, you have to realize that it's a much more complicated exercise. One is, you don't go around asking everybody. You collect the information of who are the people known to be quoting the Prophet. So you travel to them and say, okay, now what do you have? What have you heard? And you write down what they tell you. So that's the first step. Okay? So you travel from one place to another and say, okay, what have you heard about from the Prophet? But you are traveling long distances. Now the interesting thing is, as I had mentioned yesterday about the law, you are already moving east. Okay, so these collectors are people from the east. They are from Khorasan, and they are from, people say Iran, but it was not really Iran. It's the northern territory from Iran. But they are certainly not Mecca and Medina area, although there were some people who were quoting hadith from the Prophet. While in fact, Kufa, did I mention Kufa yesterday? Kufa was a new garrison city that was built by Umar, and by the time of Ali, who was the fourth caliph, there were 10,000 companions of the Prophet in Kufa. So you had just as many people in Kufa that were the companions of the Prophet as Medina, actually more so. And then there were companions who had traveled to Baghdad, they had traveled to Damascus, they had traveled to all kinds of different places.